Hi and welcome to the Whimsy Stamps channel. I'm Lisa. Thanks for joining me and Happy New Year. Today is the 1st of January and that means it's time for a new release over at Whimsy. I thought I would share the adorable Tabby Tigers with you today. Now for the sake of transparency, what I'm showing you here is printed from a digital file. Now with that said, I've kept the size as true as possible for you. Also, I ran them through my scan and cut, and again, being true to the die set, I'm only going to show you the images that the coordinating outline dies actually cut out. Now, the Tabby Tigers 4x6 clear stamp set and outline dies are sold separately, and you can see on the screen that the die set includes dies for all 5 tabbies and the 2 birds. So getting started, I'm going to share with you a simple coloring process I used. Now, I colored each tiger differently, but in the end, this is my favorite version and thought I would share this with you. So starting out, I'm going to lay down E30 to the areas that I feel like will be the lightest areas. I'm coming in next with YR61 and I'll apply that to the areas with stripes. I'm going to deepen the color with YR68. And then I'll start to blend back down with my YR65 and YR61. I did decide to bring in E31 to darken up a few areas where I initially laid down E30. I'm going to use that E31 to blend the YR68 out in a few areas, and I'm being very light-handed with that E31. We'll do a final blend with E30. Now for the ears and the nose, R20 gets the job done. And for the tears, we're going to do BG11 and then a little bit of BG13. And that's going to wrap the coloring up. So now that I've shared the coloring process with you, let's dive into the first card. It's a fairly simple process. I'm starting with one of the patterns from the new Mix and Match 1 6x6 paper pad. I'm going to trim this piece of paper down to 4 1/4 inches wide, and then I'll cut a 2-inch strip that I'm going to add tape to the back of and add to the bottom of an A2 card base. Now, in all of my videos, if you've watched, I use Neenah Avalanche White 110-pound card bases. I'm going to take a piece of Scotch removable masking tape and just mask off the pattern paper. I want to do a little bit of stenciling using Whimsy Stamps Puddle Stencil, and I'm going to use Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink to create a puddle that will be behind my image. So I'm just going to use a blender brush, add a little bit of this ink down, and once I remove the stencil, I'm really happy with the way this looks. So I decided to add a few of the little drops of water to the top right of this cutie's head. So it looks like he's crying them out. It's a little bit dramatic, right? So we add the sentiment strip using mounting foam, and you could leave it at that. You have a really cute card as is, but I decided to go a little bit further with it. And I'm going to stencil some of the puddles along the top right corner, and I'm using that same Peacock Feathers ink. Now I decided I would do 3 puddles around that top right and then rotate and do 2 puddles on the bottom left corner. So this is the FaDoodle Frames stamp set, and there's a stamp in there that I absolutely love. It's just a line of tiny little dots, and it's perfect for coming in and adding little details along the edge of your card. So I'm using black ink here, and I'm going to do 2 lines in the top left corner and 2 lines on the bottom right corner. Finish this off with my favorite cartoonist pen, a few taps on my fingers to add some white splatters, set this aside to dry, and we're moving on to card number 2. This card's a shaker card, but it's pretty simple. I'm going to use the Cutie Alphabet die set to create a quick and simple background for my card. So usually when I do this type of background, what I like to do is pull one of the letters, or not letters, but words from my sentiment, and I'm going to use the word great. So I have the letters laid out here, and you just do them randomly. They don't need to, be in order or anything. It's just a random background. We're going to run those through the die cut machine, making sure we're leaving some space in between each letter so we can add mounting foam. Once we're done with that, we'll add some double-sided tape to the back remove the release paper and lay down a piece of acetate to cover that up. Now we're coming in with our mounting foam strips. Now I want my beads that I'm using, they're tiny little beads, to not fall all the way to the bottom of the card when this card is standing. So I went ahead and put mounting foam around each letter. We flipped the card over. We added the centers to each of our letters using glue. And then we flipped it back over once that dried, and we added foam dots. You can skip that part if you want, on the back side of each of those centers. We filled our shaker with our tiny little beads, removed that release paper carefully, and then covered it with a white card panel. We've added our adorable little tabby tiger along with 2 sentiment strips and a bird using mounting foam. I've added some details along the edge using that fun little detail stamp from the FaDoodle frame stamp set, and then of course used my fine tip black pen to add some more details. Now for my final card, this card is super simple. We took a piece of that Mix and Match 1 pattern paper, and we've cut us a 2-inch strip, and we're adding a 1/4 inch piece of black cardstock to the edge of that, and then added it to our A2 card base. We used the dies only from the Doodle frame dies and created a frame using the Mix and Match paper. Colored our little cutie up, added mounting foam to the frame and the back of him along with the sentiments, stamped a few hearts from the FaDoodle heart stamp set above his head to finish that card off. And that's going to wrap up my time with you today. Let me know what you think about the Tabby Tigers in the comments below. And for more information on the products seen in this video, you can click the links directly below to head over to the Whimsy Stamps website to check it out. I appreciate you so much for spending time with me today. Until next time, please take care.